Hello my grandbabies, Don here, your medieval knight. If you are anything like me, your 80-year-old grandpa, you love deep, introspective, sad songs. Not because you're a sad person yourself, even though everyone gets sad. Rather, it's the introspection and insight or layers of someone's sadness that intrigues you, and the relatability of being sad that pulls you in, as the emotion is very effective in storytelling. Even in film, with layers of added sadness, filmmakers can trigger multiple responses within the audience, which can result in a more powerful or impactful scene that lives on for generations, and which can also result in a good cry. Although the trope was popularized in the 10s, the sad girl and its aesthetic has been present in media since the dawn of time, and it has become the signature style of many artists. Think emo aesthetics, no smiling, roses, or an everlasting yearning you can't quite put your finger on. According to the internet, sad music can be comforting because it validates negative emotions, provides a sense of solace and connection, and even trigger the release of hormones that promote feelings of calmness and well-being. It allows individuals to process their emotions, feel less alone, and experience a sense of catharsis. And I completely agree with this, as whenever I listen to sad music, I tend to get this detox or cleanse reaction. And a lot of times I'm able to sort out my emotions. Growing up, I feel like sad girl or sad boy aesthetics were more potent in music and film. While it hasn't really changed much in film, however, as I got older, as I'm now 80 years old, I can't say the same for music. So for this video, let's dive into the world of the sad girl trope, emo aesthetics, and is the sad girl starter pack depleting? I am Don, your pop culture boy. Let's get into this video.
Catastrophic.
Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's look at the term Sad Girl Starter Pack. Sad Girl Starter Pack, a derivative of the sad girl aesthetic, typically refers to curated playlists or tracks heavily drenched in reverb, social media posts, or cultural references like memes or mood boards that encapsulates the sad girl aesthetic in music and movies. It's a package representation of the aesthetic, often highlighting key artists, songs, and visual elements associated with it. The sad girl aesthetic in music refers to a style and cultural movement characterized by emotional vulnerability, introspective themes, and a melancholic vibe, often embraced by mainly female artists and their audiences. It's rooted in expressive raw feelings like heartbreak, loneliness, mental health struggles, and existential angst, often with a dreamy, nostalgic, or cinematic presentation. Other characteristics of the sad girl trope in music are lyrics focusing on personal pain, romantic turmoil, self-doubt, or societal pressures. They're often poetic, confessional, and deep introspective, exploring themes like unrequited love, betrayal, or identity crisis. Soft, ethereal melodies, reverb-heavy instrumentation, and minimalistic or lo-fi production. Vocals are often emotive, breathy, or understated, conveying fragility or rawness. Harmonies and layered vocals can enhance the dreamy, immersive feel, while visually, the sad girl aesthetic often involves pastel colors, vintage filters, soft lighting, or grainy film textures. Common motifs includes rainy windows, empty bedrooms, or tear-streaked faces. And fashion-wise, it might involve oversized sweaters, thrift clothing, or a mix of grunge and soft girly styles. While this video is about the sad girl aesthetic, the men aren't exempt from the trope, which in this case presents more like a title rather a strictly gender archetype. But I will alternate between sad boy and sad girl, and I think it'll be interesting to discuss a male figures in this topic, because I feel like in society, we tend to not associate sad tropes with men because, according to societal norms, men aren't supposed to have feelings. One of the first male figures I think embodied and also influenced the aesthetic was James Dean, who has only been in 3 films but has been immortalized in film and overall pop culture as the Brad Pitt of his time, who's been in more films than you can count. When you look at James Dean's images on Google, you get this sense of sadness, confusion, and rebellion, this going against the grain norm vibe, all of which aligns with sad girl aesthetics today. James Dean was an actor of the 1950s, born on February 8, 1931, in Marion, Indiana. Before he became an actor, he studied pre-law at UCLA, but switched to drama, launching his career with commercials and stage roles. As I mentioned earlier, he's only been in 3 films: East of Eden, Rebel Without a Cause, both released in 1955, and 1956 Giant, garnering him a reputation of the young hot male in Hollywood at the time. Unfortunately, at the age of 24, James Dean passed away in a car accident in 1955. Now, just to yap for a bit, I know for some James Dean might be a conflicting choice for the sad girl, sad boy aesthetic, but in my opinion, he definitely contributed and exudes a lot of qualities associated with sad aesthetics. The sad girl aesthetic often incorporates nostalgic elements, particularly from mid-20th century pop culture, which Dean epitomizes. His 1950s rebel image, complete with cigarettes, jackets, and a brooding demeanor, appears in visual mood boards on platforms like Pinterest and Tumblr, where the aesthetic thrives. For example, Pinterest boards titled James Dean Aesthetic features his iconic style alongside other retro imagery, suggesting a visual overlap with the aesthetic's love for vintage, melancholic vibes. We also have Lana Del Rey, the queen of sadness, referencing the actor in her music. Blue jeans, white shirt, walked into the room, you know you made my eyes burn. It was like James Dean, for sure. You're so fresh to death and sick as cancer, said Lana on her 2012 track Blue Jeans, where she reimagined her lover as James Dean in his classic fit of blue jeans and white shirt while smoking a cigarette. In Rebel Without a Cause, which explores themes of teenage angst, rebellion, and the search for identity in the post-war era, the film captures the emotional turmoil of youth struggling with societal expectations, dysfunctional families, and a longing for connection. The film paints Dean's character, Jim Stark, as one of the first sad boys to impact audiences of that era, before the coining of the trope. There's also the iconic scene where Jim is expressing frustration and anguish towards his parents, who are arguing and failing to understand him, to which he then made the outburst, the iconic "You're tearing me apart" line. You're tearing me apart! What? Cementing him as a sad boy archetype. James Dean's brooding persona and tragic narrative, whether on screen or in real life, contribute to the sad girl aesthetic's nostalgic, melancholic framework, enriching its visual and emotional landscape while also highlighting the fine line between reflective catharsis and unhealthy idolization, as a lot of people tend to romanticize his pain and demise. Now, let's pivot to music. Before the introduction of Lana Del Rey with her doom and gloom, there was Mazzy Star. Alternative rock band Mazzy Star was formed in 1988 by Hope Sandoval and David Roback. Epitomizes the sad girl aesthetic through their dreamy, melancholic sound and Hope's enigmatic presence. Their music, blending folk, dream pop, and psychedelic rock, captures the aesthetic's essence of romanticized sadness and introspective beauty. Take the band's 1993 track, Fade Into You, from their album So Tonight That I Might See, is a haunting anthem of longing, with its slow reverb Latin guitars and Hope's ethereal vocals, evoking unrequited love and emotional fragility. The song's minimalistic lyrics and hypnotic melody resonate deeply with the sad girl aesthetics, focused on vulnerability and poetic melancholy, making it a staple for those drawn to its wistful allure. And it's not only Fade Into You that resonates with the emotional trope, but a good majority of their music. As while researching for this video, I checked out their discography as I'm not an OG fan, and this sadness and longing is the recurring theme in their music, but there's also a revivalistic / spiritual element involved as well. For example, their song Unreflected, very 90s psychedelic rock vibes with medieval optimism attached as well. And if you know me, you know I love a good medieval setting. In the 90s, there was Fiona Apple as well, with her wide-eyed and deadpan expression. Fiona Apple is one of the more popular artists of the 90s that aligns with the sad girl type. There was also the band The Cranberries, Alanis Morissette, Evanescence, maybe Ditto, and Sinead O'Connor. And that's the thing with the 90s. A lot of the artists of the 90s, they were basically all sad. And if they weren't like, exclusively sad, they were, sad leaning. While Khalees isn't a main character in the world of sad girls in music, her influence on alternative black girl aesthetics in the 1990s and early 2000s suggests a nuanced contribution that isn't talked about enough, so let me enlighten some of you. While the aesthetics mainly centered white women and Eurocentric beauty standards of the time, Khalees entered the emo chat with her 1999 debut, Kaleidoscope. Khalees brought a raw, eclectic energy to R&B, blending soul, hip-hop, and experimental sounds. Songs like Caught Out There expressed raw emotion, anger, and heartbreak, akin to the sad girl aesthetics focus on intense feelings, though with a fierce edge. Meanwhile, her fashion was vibrant, avant-garde, with her colorful afro and other eclectic outfits. So while Khalees didn't dive deep into the sad trope, she was very much emo through a more alternative lens, paving the way for the black alternative types such as Fifi Dobson, Willow Smith, and even Rihanna. By the 2000s, a time of bubblegum, pop rock, and rock bands, emo/sad kids ran rampant. Even pop stars that were more, about sunshine and roses and family-friendly took part in sad and emo aesthetics such as Hilary Duff and Kelly Clarkson. But at the same time, most, especially white artists, were emo or sad adjacent. Avril Lavigne, Pink, who was also a strong black woman, Ashley Simpson, Vanessa Carlton, Mary J. Blige, and Amy Winehouse. Even Eminem, a ruthless shit-starter rapper of the 2000s, he was a deeply troubled sad boy with songs such as Mockingbird, Lose Yourself, Stan, and Cleaning Out My Closet, just to name a few. Emo origins are rooted in the 1980s hardcore punk scene, evolving in the 1990s and peaking in the early 2000s with bands like My Chemical Romance, The Fray, Fall Out Boy, and Paramore.
That's what you get when you let your heart win.
Rockers had the emo rock hair swoop, heavy ghost white makeup, and dark fashion similar to the latex kink. Everyone was sad, singing about,
I wanna kill my mom! I wanna kill my dad!
I know, crazy times, but I kinda liked it. It was very much a culture to paint your nails black back then. And now niggas are painting their nails in all sorts of colors because the wonders of passing time. Oh, hey there, you're wondering why I said the N-word as if I'm black. Well, it's because I am.
So are you Italian or what color are you in it? Are you some type of black or Spanish?
Now, welcome to the early to mid 2010s, let's say starting 2013. This was when the doom and gloom personas got coined the sad girl. A time when social media started changing from goofy posts and IG photos of half-eaten croissants to a more aesthetically pleasing medium, setting the tone for our digital reputation. And the social media platform that took the sad girl trope to internet virality has to be Tumblr, which was the hub for romanticizing all types of unhealthy rhetorics and obsessions for engagement. And that's the issue with social media and the sad girl aesthetic. It's that the aestheticization of sadness or tragic situations covers serious issues with a pretty filter and well thought out captions for likes rather seeking actual help. And some of these sad individuals are not sad or posting to spread awareness, instead taking advantage and glamorizing it, essentially making it acceptable when in the real world, this aestheticized version on social media doesn't exist in reality, only in fantasy, as sad girls and boys tend to not want to be seen, as they are actually sad. In the early 10s, on sites like Tumblr, you'd find blogs dedicated to the sad girl aesthetic. Posts of Lana Del Rey's Born to Die gifs or gifs taken from her ride video of her on a swing with a sad caption, along with shots taken from The Weeknd's House of Balloons, the black and white frame from his Wicked Games music video, which was how I was first introduced to The Weeknd back in 2012, garnering both The Weeknd and Lana cult followings in their early careers. During this time, the trope was also magnified by other acts such as Lorde and Melanie Martinez. On Tumblr, you'd also find shots of Megan Fox from the film Jennifer's Body, looking sick with a savage text that wasn't even from the movie, or was it? Or you'll encounter another gif, only this time from the movie 500 Days of Summer, where Tom is stuck in an endless action of breaking dishes after Summer told him,
I think we should stop seeing each other.
Just like that?
Just like that.
stuck in a perpetual state of sadness. In the sad girl, sad boy zeitgeist, we tend to only talk about the rockers and the pop girlies, excluding one of the most prominent music genres to have stepped into the space, reigniting sad aesthetics on a popular level in music. I'm talking about hip-hop in its SoundCloud rap era. Whatever views you hold on the SoundCloud era, we can't deny its impact on hip-hop, as the genre got extremely emo from 2015 to 2019. While the sad girl aesthetic shares some overlap with the emo movement, but because of its deep rootedness on the internet, sad girls tend to seem more performative compared to emo culture, which originated in the 1980s prior to the internet engagement campaign movement that we are in at the moment. Nonetheless, there are overlaps with the two. And whether one is an actual culture and another is performative, I guess that is also can be subjective. The SoundCloud rap era. While the era wasn't entirely emo, as more traditional leaning rappers such as Russ and Chance the Rapper came up in that time, it unleashed a ton of sad emo boys and girls who would popularize emo rap. Take XXXTentacion. X's music, especially albums like 17 and Question Marks, features raw emotional lyrics focusing on depression, loneliness, anxiety, and heartbreak, core themes of emo music. Tracks like Jocelyn Flores, Everybody Dies in Their Nightmares, and Sad are quintessential emo rap, combining trap beats with melancholic confessional vocals. Other emo rappers that contributed to the emo rap movement are Lil Uzi Vert, remember his X-Store Life, All My Friends Are Dead, Push Me to the Edge song. There's also Rico Nasty, who still embodies emo and punk aesthetics to this day. Also Trippie Redd, sorta kinda, Playboy Cardi maybe, Juice WRLD of course, and many others. Now, what if I tell you there was a rapper who predates the emo rap era? Oh yes, my sweet grandbabies. I'm talking about your favorite rapper, Drake. But unlike Eminem, who was seen as a savage while also being very emo, Drake was authentically emo, and a lot of rappers and, people did not like him singing about his feelings.
They're in the game right there. Now, why don't you like Drake?
I don't like anything about Drake.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like his voice. I don't like what he talks about. I don't.
See, I be trying to tell these face.
I don't like the way he walks. Like nothing. I don't like his haircut.
Drake's So Far Gone, released in 2009, Take Care, released in 2011, introduced a blend of introspective rap, R&B, and melancholic singing that broke from hip-hop's traditional bravado. Tracks like Take Care featuring Rihanna, Marvin's Room, and Houston, Atlanta, Vegas feature confessional lyrics about heartbreak, loneliness, and self-doubt, delivered with a moody, atmospheric production style that resonates with emo emotional core. Is the sad girl starter pack depleting in relation to musical artists? When I say this, what I mean is it's not that the aesthetic is running out. Rather, sad girls are not as popular or seen as a staple in music compared to the past. Right now, we are witnessing a cleansing of the trope in wider conversations in music. Take the king and the queen of the aesthetic, Lana Del Rey and The Weeknd. The wider audience have turned on them and is rejecting their message of sadness and depression. Don't get me wrong, they still have large fan bases, but their presence is not as widespread and seems more hidden in my opinion. Lana Del Rey, while she is still sad, she's not as sad as she used to be. We also have The Weeknd hinting that he might kill off the Weeknd persona a while back. Plus, he's gotten so much pushback since The Idol and is now seen as a creep, while for Lana, her pushback comes from feminists and non-feminists for spreading dangerous narratives to young women. When we look at the charts, the Hot 100, there isn't a lot of sad girls on there either. It's filled with a lot of country influence, which isn't typically associated with the sad girl aesthetic. So who's left in the aesthetic? Who's still taking from the sad girl starter pack? Outside of obviously Lana Del Rey, there's Billie Eilish, Summer Walker maybe, Olivia Rodrigo, also SZA with her last album SOS that infuses pop rock and emo elements that aligns with the trope, with songs like Kill Bill, F2F, Open Arms, and Nobody Gets Me. The SOS album cover also evokes sentiments from and inspired by Princess Diana's sad yacht photo. The 1997 photo of Princess Diana sitting along on a diving board on a yacht in Italy, just a week before her tragic demise. Lana, Billie, Olivia, Summer, and SZA, they are obvious superstars of the trope today. And then we have the still popular but on a mainstream level type artists who are known in the industry but haven't reached that superstar status, such as Phoebe Bridgers, Clairo, Mitski, and for the men, Jaden Smith, Bazzi, David, Joji, and obviously The Weeknd. While we do have a handful present today, it's nothing compared to the past, and I feel like people are somewhat over it. At the past Grammys, Billie Eilish did not win anything for her last album, Hit Me Hard and Soft, which was shocking as she is a Grammy darling. Also, Tate McRae was a sad girl at first, but switched it up to this ultra sexy Britney-esque type, and now experiencing broader success. And there's also Lorde, who influenced many artists, but because she took too long to release her second album, it caused everyone to play Bird Box Challenge whenever she pops out of hiding. In regards to the sad boys I mentioned outside of The Weeknd, it seems like audiences aren't gravitating towards them outside their cult followings. Or, hey, I might be just completely wrong, and sad aesthetics will be more dominant in the near future. But as of now, it's kind of dead. With all of that being said, we just can't ignore the reason for the decline, especially in music. Sure, it's still here, but it's not prominent or visceral as the aesthetic has watered down, which is not surprising due to the backlash the trope has been receiving because of the aestheticization on social media, which in most cases are not healthy. Back to the past Grammys, when Billie didn't win Album of the Year, while I did expect her to win, I was okay with her not being awarded in the category because of that album being so much of a downer. Great album, not trying to take away from the greatness of it, but it's too much doom and gloom for these uncertain times that we are in right now. I'm like, I don't want to feel sad right now. And the fact that the most successful song off that album being Birds of a Feather, one out of the 3 upbeat songs on that album, is a sentiment that a lot of people feel the same way. I also think that's one of the reasons Charli XCX's Green album was so popular, because of its upbeat aesthetics. Not saying we need to stop accepting sad works, or that artists should stop making sad music, as it definitely has its time and place. But at the same time, we can't ignore the unhealthiness of it all. What do you think? I'm Don, your pop culture boy, and I will see you in the next one.